In this video, I want to show you how I make a self-wicking pot for my plants. Last year I did not do this, and my container plants suffered tremendously in this Florida heat. So this year I started making wicking pots, and I noticed when I get home they're not stressed. So what I'm going to do is drill holes 2 inches from the bottom here, and that's going to be where my water reservoir is going to be, in the bottom of here. So instead of drilling holes in the bottom of my pots now, I drill them where my plants can, their roots can get down in the water and get a drink. Now it's very important that you don't have the roots just sitting on water, because if you do, then the plants will drown. So I'm just going to show you a quick little simple method on how I am creating self-wicking pots. Step 1 is to ensure that you purchase pots, or it could be buckets, any type of container that doesn't have a hole in the bottom. And when you get your buckets, make sure they're food gradable. So I got these last year at the end of year dollar store 90% off garden sale. So that's the best time to get these type of pots. If not, you still can get them in season. It's just going to cost you a little more. So what I do, as you can see, no holes. So next step we're going to take is to drill. I drill 3 holes on each side. You really don't want the holes too big, so that's big enough for the water to drain out. As you can see, I have 3 holes, one over here, one here, one here. And I repeat on all 4 sides. Next step is to fill up your wicking pot with wood chips, or you can use I don't know the name of this, but it's much larger in the plumbing section. You can also add that to the bottom of this. I don't have any. I don't want to buy any. So I'm just going to use the wood chips. The water will absorb and the wood chips will help it retain moisture. We're not putting the soil directly on top of the wood chips, so we're not going to worry about any nutrients seeping from the soil while this is breaking down. Okay, after you layer your wood chips, as you can see right here, they're kind of below. I try to keep them below my drainage hose line, and that's simple. So the next step is to add my fabric, garden fabric, the weed blocker, on top of it. So I added my weed blocker on top. As you can see, it's going to sit on top of the water and the wood chips, and this will keep the roots from drowning. The PVC pipe is optional. I'm doing that because I can easily self-water from here without having to water the cucumbers. I want to try to keep the cucumber leaves from getting wet unless it's raining, because with this Florida humidity, I don't want to cause disease. So I'm going to do my watering of these pots from here. So I have my PVC pipe, which is some scraps that I had, so I didn't have to buy that. And now I'm going to layer the soil and add some fertilizer. I have my soil about this high. I'm going to go higher, but I'm going to start fertilizing and mixing it in with the soil. When you add fertilizer, it's very important to water in real good so that it doesn't burn the roots of your plants. Throw in some Dr. Earth, a little bit of this slow release fertilizer. I like to push it in to the soil and then add a little bit more on top. I just don't want the roots sitting on top of any fertilizer. These are seedlings. They're only like a week old, but they're pretty big and healthy. They're cucumbers, Boston pickling cucumbers. So now we'll add our seedlings. I have 4 Boston pickling cucumbers that I started from seeds a week ago that I am adding to the pot. And I'm placing them in 4 corners. The reason why I am doing 4 is because I want to increase my production of cucumbers. The pot is pretty big, so I can always trim it back, but instead of getting 1 or 2 pickles at one time on one plant, I can be having all 4 of my plants producing, not pickles, cucumbers at the same time, and I can have more cucumber production. Okay, I added 2 marigolds to the pot, and it's windy today. And as you can see, I have my 4 cucumbers. Later on, I am going to add a trellis teepee, and I will be making a video on how to make a teepee trellis out of bamboo. So the next thing I want to do is add my wood chips on top so that we can keep, like I said, the soil wet, and then I'll add the water. Next, I'm going to gently water them in. You don't need much because I am going to water in here. Show you what happens when you put too much water in. They're all set. What I'm doing is keeping them in a shaded area so that the seedlings don't get sunburnt until they get older. And later on, I'm going to add a teepee trellis, which I'll show you instructions on how I go about doing it with bamboo and just some rope. Thanks for watching.